Big news from Phil Mickelson's camp as he and his longtime caddy, Jim Bones MacKay, are splitting up after a quarter of a century. What's behind this decision?
Well, Phil hasn't won since the 2013 Open Championship, British Open Championship, and been a pretty long time. It's been almost 4 years now, and he's really been knocking on the door. He's had a lot of top tens. Of course, Phil had that magnificent runner-up performance to Henrik Stenson at last year's British Open Championship, but would have won just about any other British Open except that one. So I think it's been very frustrating for him. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's still very competitive. He's still very proud, and the last straw seems like it may have been at the FedEx St. Jude Classic about 10 days ago. Phil found himself in the lead on the back nine, said he looked at a leaderboard and basically panicked. I mean, this is a guy with 42 PGA Tour victories. He admitted that he panicked. He made a triple bogey right away, plummeted off the leaderboard, and called himself mentally weak after that. Said he needed to really sharpen things up. So things were just a little bit off in his camp, and he decided to make a change. And it happens out on tour every week. So no one ever thought it would happen to these guys, but it's going to be a little odd seeing them both with other players and other caddies.
So I heard those same comments, and I was as surprised as you were when we found out that he was feeling that way at the FedEx St. Jude's Classic. But why was Bones MacKay to be at fault, or why was he to be blamed for him feeling that he was a little panicked?
Well, I think you look at golf, it's such a mental game. There's so much time to think about what you're going to do and strategize out there. It actually goes back to the Players' Championship. There was a moment where they were actually on camera, and they were going back and forth on the 17th hole on what to hit. And Johnny Miller said it was giving him a headache just listening to them. So and then Phil finally said, "I got this," and he just hit. So maybe their time had come to an end. It all seemed very amicable. They released joint statements through the PGA Tour yesterday saying that they remain best friends, and they'll remain best friends really until they're gone and everybody's forgotten them. So their relationship kind of transcended golf, and they became buddies and did a lot of stuff together. So I would imagine they'll still remain fairly close.
At first, you don't know much of the story. It doesn't add up. But after listening to the explanation, now you can kind of understand a little bit the mental side of it, just different change maybe for Phil. Who's next now for Phil?
Well, right now, Phil Mickelson said in his statement yesterday that Tim Mickelson, his younger brother, who has coached Arizona State's men's golf team, lately he's been John Rahm's agent. He's going to be caddying for Phil for the time being. Phil did say for the remainder of this season. And you'll remember at the Mexico Championship earlier this season, Jim MacKay did get food poisoning and was not able to go in the second round. It's kind of a hilly course, high elevation. Plus, he had just had 2 knee replacements. So he was really fighting it down there in Mexico and just couldn't go anymore. And so he had to actually give up the bag. And it was Tim Mickelson who kind of came to the rescue there. He apparently did a good job, so he'll be caddying again for the remainder of this year for his big brother Phil.
All right. When are we expected to see Lefty back on the course?
He will be in action at the Greenbrier Classic, which is coming up at the beginning of July 6th through 9th, and it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. He's going to have a new guy in the bag. Maybe he'll feel a little bit of a new pep in his step, and maybe that'll help him. He's been coming very close to winning again, but as I said, it's been almost 4 years now, and for a player of his caliber, I think that got very frustrating.